we are just going to go through some instructions on how to update the USCTDP, their registration portal. So this is registered at USCTDP. And what we're doing is we're going to be adding the spring summer programs as this sample. Now, there will also be other times where we need to add fall winter programs. And so this video would serve as instructions for both. So this task is a little complicated just because it requires a lot of attention to detail. There are a lot of different pricing and uh, and also the scheduled times. So the very first thing that we'll want to do is we'll want to go ahead and make sure that we download all of the PDFs of the upcoming programs, which I just created a folder right before I started this video with all the spring summer programs. That way I can access those. And then what we'll want to do is just update the programs one by one. So the first thing I did is I opened up the spring summer adult. We'll start with the adult programs and then we'll do the junior programs as a separate video. So here on USC TDP, we see that we have two types of adult programs. There are the adult cardio, and then there's the adult tennis clinics. Okay, and so over here we see that we have uh, a spring session that's 5 weeks, and then a summer session that's 8 weeks. That's for the tennis clinics here. And then we also have cardio on the same um, PDF, and that gives us the time for both the spring sessions and the summer. Now, what it looks like here is that we have a 5 week spring session, an 8 week summer session, and then down here we have the pricing for the spring, which is the 5 weeks, and then we also have pricing. We actually have two pricing. We have the adult 8 weeks, and then we also have an adult 7 weeks that will include one less Friday because there's a Friday that won't be offered. So again, there's a little bit of complexity here, which requires us to pay a little bit of detail to the pricing. Because the other thing is that we have an adult 4 week cardio session, which adds a little bit to the complexity here, but we'll see if we can go ahead and sort all that out as part of this video. So the very first thing that we'll do is I'm going to go over to log into my backend under administrator. I'm going to go to component event booking, and then so that will put us at this dashboard here. And the very first thing I want to do is I want to update all of my categories. So we're doing spring and summer 2025. So let's go ahead and change the ones from last year that were 2024. We'll update all those. Change that to spring summer 2024. So that's the very first thing we'll do is update the categories. So we've changed that for the two adults, and then we'll do the same thing for the juniors, which I already did the spring right before I started this video, and we'll need to do the same thing for summer for the juniors. Okay, so we've now updated all of our categories. So that was our first step. The next thing we'll do is we'll go ahead over to events. And what I like to do is by default, usually it's going to look something like this where it just has our current events up here. We'll start with spring. So first I'm going to type in spring into my event, and we don't have anything. But what we'll do is we'll change this event filter so that we can see the spring from programs from last year. And so I see that I got a spring adult tennis clinic, the cardio tennis, and then we have some junior clinics, and then we have the other adult clinics as well. Okay, so very first thing we'll do is we'll go ahead and look at our spring adult. I'll just do that just to filter out the juniors. So we had from previous year. Well, we actually have this from 2023, but then we also have these from 2024, a 6 week, and the cardio tennis 5 or 6 weeks. Okay, so what we'll see is that this year we have a spring adult tennis clinic, and the spring session is 5 weeks this year. Okay, and then for spring, for adult cardio, they can choose either 4 weeks or 5 weeks. So we'll start with the sessions that were last year, and we'll just take this session, and what we want to do is we want to go ahead and duplicate it. So I'll open it up, I'll save it as a copy. Now that it's been saved as a copy, I can go ahead and now make my changes. So I'll change this to 5 weeks. I'll just delete the whole alias so it's regenerated. Make sure that my category is the same. And now I want to carefully change the date. So the event start date here is going to be May 5th, and then it's going to go to June 8th. So we'll go May 5th, 2025. To June 8th, 2025. Okay. And then we also will set this cutoff date. We usually do the cutoff date about a week before the end of the session. So we'll make that like June 1st, 2025. Okay. So I got my dates updated. Now I want to update the pricing. So for spring, we want it to be starting at 153 and then the 286. So 153 for one day and then 286 for 2 days. Okay. And then I like to also update this as well. So I can even do a quick copy and paste here. Okay, so at this point, I just want to make sure we don't have any other fields to update. It looks like we are good. So let's go ahead and save this one. Okay, so now we have our spring. Our new program is going to be here, the spring adult tennis clinics for 5 weeks. Now, what I like to do is have another window open so that way I can preview that. Then, because I took it offline, I can now preview it without it being public. So here's our new program, okay, and our new date. And then we'll go ahead and click registration. Now, if you notice, we didn't change any date, any times, or any pricing. And we'll notice that here, that still our 1 day per week, instead of saying 153, it's still saying 184 and also has last year pricing. And even if I check the times, you know, I'll need to double check to make sure that some of these times didn't change. So these are all custom fields. There's only two custom fields for this adult clinics that we need to check, which is this days per week, and then also this schedule, this level 1 clinic schedule. Again, there's one for level 2, level 3, and level 4. We'll want to check that all of those are correct. I can do that really quickly. I could just see if there's any changes. So I'll look at the level 1 and I'll just compare it to the PDF. So I got Monday at 12, we got Monday at 7, Tuesday at 7, Wednesday at 10:30, and then Sunday at 9:30. Um, I can do that for all these just to make sure that they're still the same schedule as last year. Every so often these change. So level 1 and level 2 are both the same. Now I'm checking level 3. Wednesday at 9, Wednesday at 1, Thursday at 7 p.m. and Thursday and Sunday at 9:30 a.m. All right, those all seem to be the same as last year. And then the same thing with level 4. Just double check it Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday at 8:30 p.m. and then Sunday at 2. Okay, so these were all the same, all the schedules. We'll go through in this video how to change those schedules if they do ever update, but we at least check that here. And now what we do know though is that the pricing is not correct here. We need to change this for 1 day per week for that clinic is 153, and then 2 days per week is 286. So in order to do that, let's go back to our back end. We want to go to custom fields now. So under event booking, custom fields. And then we're looking for that days per week field. There's a whole bunch of different custom fields here. We got probably somewhere close to 80 or so custom fields. But let's see if we can go to, let's just go to spring. Okay. And we got the spring adult clinics days per week, which is that radio button. So we actually found it right here. I can look at the titles to help give me a clue as to which one I'm updating, but this is the adult clinic days per week, which is here. We're in the adult clinics for spring, and the days per week is the field title here, days per week. So let's go ahead and update that. What we'll see is that we have these days per week, and it has the old pricing. So let's go ahead and update the values. These are our two options, which are 153 and 286. So we update the values in the drop down, but then I also need to update these fee values. So it's one per each line. So I need to update this to 153. And the second line needs to be updated to 86. Okay. And that's it. I can go ahead and save this. I can now go to my preview, refresh to check to see if I did this correctly. And it looks like it updated here, the two options. Let's test it. So we click this radio button and I notice that the payment amount updated correctly. If I do this one, I also updated correctly. And this is important to just double check this just to make sure we remembered to update both fields. Okay, so at this point I can now close this. I already saved it, so I can just close that out. And I updated the days per week. Now, if I ever need to update the times, those are going to be here, these check boxes. So adult, spring adult level 1, level 2, level 3, and level 4. And if I ever need to update any of those, I can just open up this custom field and I can just change these values here. Okay. Um, Most of these dependencies are also going to be here, but in this case, it needs to be linked to the right event. It also needs to be dependent on that particular drop down. And again, you normally won't have to change this just because this logic has already been built in, and we copied the event, so it copied that logic. The only time this was changed is if we changed the labels of or titles and names of any of these custom fields. Okay, so that's how you update the schedule time. And at this point, I'm all done with the adult tennis clinic. Now, for the adults, let's just do the second part, which is the cardio tennis. So what we'll now do is go back to our event. We want to find the spring adult cardio tennis from last year. So I'll just go scroll down. I found this one right here. This was for the event from 2024. We're updating to 2025. The reason that we're going to choose this most recent one is because there are not going to be a lot of changes from year to year. So by copying this event it's going to copy a lot of the custom fields and the dependencies um, and any of the other previous settings. So I'm going to open up the class from last year. I'm going to save this as a copy. I see that it made that copy because it added 2 to the end. And now I just want to update this. So last year they had a choice of 5 or 6 weeks. This year they'll have a choice between 4 or 5 weeks. This event alias, we'll just delete that and let the system automatically create that for us. And that we want to update our dates. So just like the adult clinics, the same dates, they start on May the 5th. Again, I can just double check that in case I don't remember. May the 5th to June the 8th. To June 8th, 2025. And again, this cutoff date, also, let's change that to 2025, about a week before the end of the clinics. Let's update our pricing. So the spring cardio tennis clinics, they start on the low end at 112 and they go up to the high end to 260. So we'll just update these values here. And then I'll just double, and I'll like scroll down just to double check. And then we'll go ahead and copy and paste this information in. Actually, let's see if we can do. All right, so we got. Okay, just double check that, and it looks like we got that correct. And we also had that on the description, so we'll just keep the formatting the same. And at this point, I am ready to save. We'll go to our page preview. Let's go back here to our home. Let's find that spring cardio clinics. We got the pricing here. And then let's go ahead and click register. And we have these days and times, but we notice that we got 5 and 6 weeks and the pricing is not correct. So we need to go ahead and update both the times and the days per week. Those are our 2 custom fields here. Cardio days per week for the spring, and then the scheduled days and time for cardio. Okay, so let's go back and do that. We'll go to event booking, custom fields, and then let's do a spring adult cardio. Oh, nothing came up, so let's go back to spring adult. Okay, so what we have is the spring adult cardio days per week, and then we have the spring adult cardio scheduled days and time. So we have the radio button and the check boxes. Let's go ahead and do the first, that radio button, and we'll go ahead and do that. We'll just update these values. So 4 weeks, 1 day per week, that price is 112. There's not, we can remove this one, the 5 days per week. We'll then go our next 2, which are our 5-day, or I'm sorry, our 5 week. We have 1 day per week at 140 and then 260. So we got 140 and then 260. Okay, so now that gives us three options. The 4 week, 1 day per week, the 5 week, 1 day per week, and then the 5 week, 2 days per week. So 112, 140, 260. And let's just update those values here as well. 112, 140, and 260. So we now updated the options and the fee values, or the pricing. We'll go ahead and save. And let's go ahead and preview. Okay. And we have the 4 week, 112. We make sure that updated properly. 5 week, 1 day per week, 140, and then 5 week, 2 days per week at 260. So we got our pricing updated. And the other thing we could do is that we notice that there's a Mondays only that's always by that 4 week cardio. So let's just go ahead and add that. They did it was Monday only in parentheses. And we'll just go ahead and add that there. Let's go ahead and refresh that. So it added that Monday only here. Okay. Now we'll need to check all these times to make sure that those times are still the same. I like to just go quick split screen. And what I have here for spring, we got Monday at 9 to 10, Monday at 10 to 11, Monday 11 to 8, and then we got Tuesday at 9. Okay, so we notice we don't have a Tuesday class anymore, so we need to remove the Tuesday class. We got a Wednesday at 6, Thursday at 9 a.m., Thursday at 10 a.m. Okay, and then that Thursday at 10 a.m. is now called intermediate. So we want to check that. This one is called high intermediate. So we want to just double check all of these times. So I notice there's a few that would need to be updated. So let's go ahead and do that. We'll go spring adult cardio schedule days and times. We'll open this up. And now what we'll want to do is make sure that we update all these fields properly. So we got Monday at 9 for advanced, Monday at 10, that one is now called intermediate. Monday at 7, they call that high intermediate and above. Tuesday at 9, there is no longer a Tuesday at 9, so we'll need to delete that option completely. Wednesday at 6 is called advanced. Thursday at 9 is now called high intermediate. Thursday at 10 is just called intermediate. Friday at 9 is now called high intermediate. And then Friday at 10 is just called intermediate. So that gives us all of our times. We'll save that. Then now we can just refresh and preview those times. So it looks like those did update. We got rid of that Tuesday and we updated what was in the parentheses. So that gives us our times. We just double checked our pricing. And now we are done with the adult cardio. And so that's how we do the adult programs. I can do this whether it's fall, spring, whether we have one set of pricing or 10 different prices. It's all the same process. Usually our pricing is going to be updated in this days per week um, field, custom field. And so this is usually a radio button, and we just put in our options for pricing and then our fee values. And so that's it. We'll continue to do that, the same process for the summer programs. It's the same as spring. So if I open up our summer adult clinics, I'm able to do that same process to update the any summer programs for the adults as well. So, uh, so that's it, and I'll see you on the next training video for juniors.